Alright, this video is going to be a walkthrough of installing and configuring the bluebuntu Linux environment. I'm going to be doing it in a virtual machine, but you could just as easily be doing it on a real PC with either a CD or a USB drive. If you don't have a copy of the ISO, you can go to sourceforge.net/p/bluebuntu. The most recent ISOs will be here. You can just click download, or you can browse through the files and pick the one you want. 1.2 just came out earlier today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this install. Ubuntu recommends a minimum 2 gigabytes of RAM, but I feel like bluebuntu can get away with just 1 gigabyte. And that's, I'll go ahead and do a 1 gigabyte install on this machine. I'm just telling it it's Ubuntu 64-bit because that's what the OS is based on. Let's name it bluebuntu install. 20 gigabytes is more than enough space. It's not going to be nearly 20 gigabytes once it's all unpackaged, but if you want more space than that, go for it if you have more on your hard drive. And I'm going to go ahead and do 1 gigabyte of RAM for this machine. Alright, let's hop into her. So bluebuntu is based off of both Ubuntu and Xubuntu. It's a fork of Xubuntu in that it uses the Xubuntu installer, as you can see here, and a lot of the Xubuntu packages. Right at the core, it's based off of Ubuntu 18.04 Bionic Beaver. And I kind of just made it because I feel like it's a good UI. It's familiar for Windows users. Alright, if you want to go ahead and try out the system before you install it, you can hit try bluebuntu here. A couple people have asked me, when you get to the login screen, it's going to ask you for a username and a password. If you click right here, the login is bluebuntu, just like this, lowercase, just like you spell here. And the password you can just leave blank and then go ahead and log in with that, and it'll let you try out the live ISO. I'm going to go ahead and do a full install just so everyone can see what the full install looks like. Again, this is the Xubuntu installer that's going to install the bluebuntu system. I'm going to select English as my language. These updates come from the Ubuntu servers. Personally, I don't really think it's a good idea to install them right now. You do need network connection if you want to install them. Everything that you need for the system is packaged inside in the offline installer, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this. Again, I'm also going to skip the third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi. You can also get these updates after you've already installed the system, and I'm going to erase my entire disk and install bluebuntu. Yes. Time zone is good. Luis Blue. I'm going to go ahead and put 1234 as my password. Not a very secure password, but it'll do the job for this video. So, I still have some changes I want to make to the operating system, so I appreciate feedback and suggestions. If you want to try it out, grab a copy. I recently submitted it to DistroWatch, got it on the waiting list, so we'll have to see. Some of the changes I do want to do is I want to keep modifying the Xubuntu installer. I've tried to make the grub for the installer to fix to a full 1920 by 1080 by default. You can see it's in this little tiny window right now. I've managed to get the actual system to automatically get to the full base resolution from the greeter and onwards, but for some reason I can't get the installer to be the right resolution. Again, if you like this system, feel free to give it to your friends. That's what Linux is all about. This is what Xubuntu has to say about it. I was saying earlier, the reason I kind of made this desktop environment is because I like xfce, I like Xubuntu, but I feel it's definitely better than Ubuntu and like GNOME Ubuntu and Unity Ubuntu. But I just feel like the base xfce default on Ubuntu, it kind of feels a little bit too much like a Macintosh to me. And I know that's a lot like a lot of Linux distros feel like that because they're Unix and whatnot. But I kind of just made a system that feels more familiar to Windows users. It's more like a Windows 95, Windows 98 kind of DOS familiarity. That's kind of the functionality that it has. It has a panel. Doesn't have a dock. Yeah. Some of the install that it does is optional. Like it's going to do a bunch of languages and stuff. You're welcome to skip that. I don't really know an insane amount about it. I'm just going to let it go through all the automatic installs and just let it put whatever it wants on the machine. So I know there's a lot of Linux distros that try to cater to Windows users, like Zorin OS and Kubuntu and Chalet OS and React OS, which isn't actually a Linux system. I actually don't know what React OS is, except it's very close to copyright infringement. By the way, this version I'm installing is 1.2, specifically 18.04.1.2, bluebuntu, which is released June 24th, 2019. So if you're watching this video a long time after then, if I haven't put out a new version, you probably want to grab the updates from the Ubuntu servers. And even if you're watching it on June 25th, 2019, there's new packages you might want them. But everything that the system needs to function at its bare minimum, it's got inside the offline installer. I was gonna wait until I got back to America to make a video. Okay, we are done with the install. I'm gonna tell VMware that I'm done installing so that it'll eject the ISO. If you're doing this on a real machine, go ahead and take out your CD or your USB drive. I'm gonna go ahead and restart. As you can see, the lovely bluebuntu logo is here now. Okay. I was gonna wait until I got back to the States to make a video, but I have a couple people who were a little upset with me that there's not a video out yet, so I figured I'd just throw one together pretty quick, and I might make another one when I get home. Okay, here is the greeter. I'm going to go ahead and throw in my password, 1234. You will see that there's only one session installed on the machine. It's OpenBox. If you want to go ahead and install other sessions, I did remove xfce session because it's not the session manager the system uses, but you're welcome to install it. I'm just going to go ahead and log in. It's going to fire up the system. Okay, so here we are in the Bluebuntu desktop environment. As you can see, it's very pretty. Let's just jump around some quick things. This is just like a readme changelog folder, or sorry, file. If you want to go ahead, right-click on the desktop, you pull up this menu. You can make a new folder on the desktop. You can make a new file, and it'll open up. Just get it by default. You can change this to them. I'm just going to go ahead and store my plain text password on the desktop. Saved it. Okay, you can see by default it names the folder after the time and date. Same with the new text files you generate via the menu. If you want to go ahead and open up the terminal emulator, this system uses LX terminal as the default, but you can change that. Terminal emulator. If you want to go ahead, there's a hotkey to open it. If you want to do Control-Alt-T, that will also open the terminal emulator. Another thing, File Explorer. Default File Explorer is XFE. I kind of like this File Explorer. You can change that too. Web browser, Chromium is the default right here. I'm going to leave this open just so I can show you some other things. Text editor is a shortcut for the text editor, and I have Gedit on the system. I also have LeafPad. Whichever one you prefer, both are installed by default. And then if you see here, I'm going to just go ahead and open some Windows. You see here in the desktop section, you can add more virtual desktops or desktop environments, and you can switch between your windows. What else can we do? This is just a shortcut if you want to edit the system volume and the sound options. You can also use this. This is just like a straight volume manager. This one has some more fine-tuned output, decibel settings like that. Okay, let me walk you through a bit more of the UI. So here we have the launcher. This is Whisker menu. You'll recognize it from xfce. If you want to go ahead and open it, there's a shortcut. It is just the Windows or Super key, whatever you want to call it. On a Mac, it would be the Macintosh key or the Apple key. I don't really know what it's called. This is kind of like a start menu, a launcher. You can edit the settings for this. I'll show you how. So if you left click on this, it'll bring up this launcher. You can look through the applications that are installed, and if you install more applications, it'll automatically add them here. You can also use the search bar to search for something like Chromium or whatever. You can also see here, this will open up Settings Manager. This will lock the screen, take you back to the greeter that you logged in onto. This is to switch users. It pretty much does the exact same thing as this lock screen button. And then this log out option is going to bring up a script, and you can choose cancel, log out, basically just log. Actually, no, I forgot. These are different. This one will lock the screen but maintain your session. This one, I believe, will exit your session and close all the windows you have open. So log out, that'll end your session. Reboot, restarts the machine, pretty obvious. Shut down, shuts down the computer. And I have changed by default, password is not required for shutdown or reboot. If you want to change that, I'll show you where in a couple minutes. If you right click on this menu, you will bring up a list of the currently open windows, and you can switch between them. Over here you've got these arrows. If you left click, you'll pull up the xfce applications menu. You can use this to launch other things. This is a bit more of a minimal launcher than the big one over here, which you get with the Windows key. If you right click, you'll get some directories. This is also from xfce. Over here you have some launchers, and you can edit which launchers you want down here, and all the launchers are to the left of this separator. And then over here you've got your tasks. Just to close them, you can just right click on the buttons and they will close. Alright, let's go through some of the system configuration. I just went over volume. If you go edit system, auto start, this is a script that OpenBox runs at the beginning of the session. This part up here is just going to set the resolution. If you have a machine that's not 1920 by 1080 and you don't know how to edit this script, I will tell you right now. Go ahead and open up a terminal emulator. What you're going to want to do is CVT and then whatever your resolution is. So I'm just going to say I have 780, 480, and I need 29 frames a second. The terminal will tell you, okay, this is what you need to do. Go ahead and copy everything from these quotes onwards. This is a new graphics mode. If you want to use whatever, this is width, height, and frame rate. If you go here to the script, you can just paste in what you need. This is the new mode, paste that there. And then here, this is the name of your display. Because I'm in VMware, it's Virtual 1, but your display name might be different. You might need to look this up depending on what kind of machine you're on. But I'm going to go ahead and just copy this display mode title here, and I'm going to copy it again here, and this is just editing the script so that when I start, the machine is going to be at this resolution with this frame rate rather than the 1920 by 1080. So if you've got a 4K monitor, if you've got a lower end machine, and you don't want it to be 1920 by 1080, you go ahead and just edit that script. Other things that's in this startup, this xfce 4 panel, this is what's going to be running the things over here, the launcher, the window guy, the application menu, and the directory menu. So if you don't want that at startup, you can get rid of this. Tint 2 is the panel, this blue panel down here. I'm actually using this as the main panel. Space FM, this is the desktop GUI. The background is drawn by Space FM, the desktop background, and also these icons on the desktop are also drawn by Space FM. Xcomp Manager is a compositor that enables transparency. Vulti is this little volume key down here, and xfce4 Power Manager is a system power manager. It also brings this little icon in the system tray to let you know that I'm plugged into AC power right now. Okay, let's close this. Some other things we can do, back to system configuration, hotkeys. This is the OpenBox hotkey menu. Let me just run through some other hotkeys that are in the machine. I said Windows is for the launcher. You can do Control-Alt-Delete. Whoops, that brought up my Windows for my host machine. If you do Control-Alt-Delete in the system, also known as Control-Alt-Insert on a virtual machine, you will bring up the shutdown prompt, and same thing as hitting this logout button right there. Another thing you can do, Control-Shift-Escape will bring up the task manager, LX task, and again, Control-Alt-T is the terminal emulator. Then after that, in the hotkeys file, you can add hotkeys for OpenBox actions. By the way, this is where the default window theme is set. So if you don't like this this blue and light blue, these window colors, you can install new OpenBox themes. I'll show you how to do that. This is just setting the obconf will actually take care of that, so you don't really need to worry about that. Elsewhere in here, you can just put in hotkeys you want. Keybinds, action names, these are OpenBox actions. These are go to desktop, that's an OpenBox action. Toggle show desktop, that's an OpenBox action. And then there's also terminal executions, such as this action name equals execute command. This is the, for example, this is the Windows key popping up the whisker menu. So go ahead and change the hotkeys for whatever works for you. Other things in the system, if you want to edit this right-click menu, if you want to add, remove things, this is the called OB menu, OpenBox menu. If you want to configure this, you can just add new sub-menus. Like this is a sub-menu, this edit system. You can add pipe menus if you know how to do that. You can add items, add separators, move items around, change what commands they're going to do. Go wild. Other things we've got, if you want to edit the sources list, this is for what repositories your terminal is going to look at when you try to get new packages. This is sudo protected, so terminal is going to ask me for my password, 1234, pop it in there. This is the sources list. If you have repositories you want to add and you don't want to use apt add repository, if you want to just put them into your file, add them here. That's your sources list. It's root protected. Appearance. If you want to change the desktop background to the size of these icons, just go edit appearance, desktop background. This is going to pull up the Space FM preferences. You can change the desktop background and some other things like the icon sizes, and this will change. If you don't want the folders on the desktop to open with xfce, you can change this to you change the MIME application, or you can unselect this to make it open with Space FM instead. One quick note about wallpapers. I'm just going to quickly mention that on my website I have a section with wallpapers. If you don't like this one, I have included a couple more on the machine, but yeah, if you like any of these wallpapers, feel free to download them. If you want to make your own Linux distribution, you are more than welcome to use my backgrounds in it. Please just link to my website. Okay, what else do we have? All right, you want to edit the GTK theme. This is done in LX appearance. I have the default as mist. Color, icon theme, default icon theme is Tango from Ubuntu. Just lots of appearance things in here. Other appearance settings, you want to change the window theme. This is the OpenBox theme I was talking about. Like I said, the default is Bear 3. It's basically Bear 2, but I decided to make the inactive windows blue instead of gray. And I made the active windows a little bit more blue. This is the default. If you want to install different themes, you can go to boxlook.org, open desktop. There's a ton of themes all over the internet. You can install these from theme archives or just from the directories. This is just changing some things about the windows, like whether you want there to be open, close, maximize, minimize buttons, what do you want the buttons to do, how big the font is going to be, other things. You can also add more virtual desktops here. I don't even know if it's called a virtual desktop. It might just be called a desktop. Other settings. If you want to add a dock, you can add a dock here. You could also use another dock program like like docbarx or something like that. If you want to configure the panel, Tint2 comes with a GUI, so this is the default panel look that I have installed on the machine. If you want to edit this one or use one of the other Tint2 panel looks, go for it. You can just change that here. If you want to actually edit the config file, I have put a link to the config file just in this panel config, and it will open up this. This is basically all the GUI does for Tint2. It basically just writes to this file, so if you want to just do it by hand, you can open up this file. If you don't like the color of this launcher, there's another thing, edit appearance, launcher config. This will open up the file. Now this is not, I believe this is not the GTK file for all of your GTK themes. This is just the GTK file for the whisker menu, the launcher. I have included a navy colored launcher, kind of a gray / navy, a little bit more traditional, whereas this is a little bit of more of a lively blue. If you don't like theirs, I have included a darker launcher, and also you can make your own. Feel free, if you need colors, I'd recommend going to W3 Schools hex colors. If you are not really familiar with hex colors for these config files and you want to grab some colors and adjust the brightnesses, you can just put these in your config files either as RGBs or as hexes. Other things we can do, edit appearance. This is the greeter settings for LightDM. LightDM is the default display manager, and it uses a GTK theme for the greeter. This is also pseudo protected. I'm going to go ahead and pop in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit enter. This is the greeter config. The background here, I have a file, user share wallpapers. This is where the desktop background and the greeter background are stored. There's a couple more in there if you want to browse them. Also get them from my website, get them from Interface Lift, anywhere you want, get them from Google Images. So if you want to edit this file, choose another image as your greeter background, or adjust the greeter however you want. Go for it. Let's see, what else should I go over here? Also in this menu you have log out, reboot, shutdown. These are basically doing the same thing as this script. It's just you have them easily accessible here on your right-click menu. There's one more script on the system. There's actually probably a lot of scripts, but there's one more script I want to go over about bluebuntu. This is like the changelog / readme file. If you hit this, it's going to bring up a script just talking a little bit about the version that you have. This system was developed by me, Louis Rosenblum. Homepage, this will take you to my website. If you want to read about the project, I have a changelog here, like a full changelog and version history for all the systems and what's installed. If you want to get an ISO or you want to see the SourceForge, there's a discussion board on the SourceForge. This will take you, visit project will take you to the SourceForge page. And again, this is where you can get a copy of the ISO if you don't have one. sourceforge.net/p/bluebuntu. You can literally just get rid of the projects and just put p. It'll take you to the same place. Other than that, is there anything else I want to mention? Again, this is the power manager. If you want to edit your power settings, go ahead and right click. This will bring up xfce power manager. You've got your internet connection here, network manager, volume, Bluetooth settings. This is the clock. If you click on it, it should bring up ORAGE, which is a calendar. Also, I should mention this button on the right. This is show desktop button. So if you just press this, it'll bring up your desktop. If you press it again, it'll bring your windows back. And what else? Oh, if you accidentally pick the wrong time zone in your installation, or you're using the demo version and you weren't able to pick a time zone, there is an application on here, time and date. If you want to change your time zone, and I think you can also use this ORAGE global time, or I think ORAGE has a time zone manager as well. Anyways, you can also edit things like there's plenty of settings in here. This is for the whisker menu if you want to configure what the commands do for these commands down here, or you want to edit a little bit of the config, go for it. There's really not that much to say more about this system. It's pretty lightweight. Hopefully it's fast. Wasn't running super smoothly because I'm kind of on my laptop abroad right now, but and I only gave it 1 GB of RAM, but it should do fine with that amount of specs. And if you have more, more the merrier. This desktop background is open source. I took this photo myself. This was actually in Bozeman, Montana, near Highlight Peak. This actually is Highlight Peak. I don't really think I have that much more to say other than if you like this, download it and tell other people about it. I have it on DistroWatch. If you go to distrowatch.com, I recently submitted it to the waitlist. If you go to wow, it is painful to browse the internet without an ad blocker. I am not used to this. If you go down on the waitlist, down, bluebuntu, right here. Submitted on 2019-6/21. If you like this system, go ahead and recommend it. If you have changes or suggestions, there's a contact form on my website. You can also make a discussion post on the SourceForge. Hopefully you have permissions for that. If not, email me, let me know. I'll try to adjust the permissions for that. And yeah, hope you like this system. Yeah, hope you get a kick out of it. All right, let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions, changes, things you want to see, things you don't want to see, things you want me to get out of this system. All right, and that's about it. Hope you guys enjoy. It's pretty kick-ass. I know I'll be using it. All right, thanks for watching.